Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Martina Valmassoi. It's the day after the 2025 Transvulcania Ultra. You're the third place woman. How's this feeling this morning?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels like, accomplishing, like finishing yesterday was probably the hardest task. It was a really challenging day, but yeah, I'm really happy with my race, with how I managed everything. But yeah, I think we reached. Yeah, as I told you, I thought it was in 23 was the worst possible weather we could get here, and yeah, yesterday I was unpleasantly surprised that that can be way worse.
Okay, so the weather yesterday was the headline of the race.
Yeah.
Can you just start? I mean, you do ski mountaineering. You have been in trail and ultra for a while. You have photographed some really ridiculous races yourself. Can you articulate what the conditions were actually like?
Yeah, it's wild because normally, I have no problem when it's colder. Actually, I enjoy more. And we had a similar weather. I have seen this weather in Madeira last year, so I think it's also something with me running on islands. So I'm really sorry. If I ever do Transgran Canaria, I will tell you, and maybe
you cannot sign up.
Yeah. So you decide. And yesterday. Well, first of all, I wasn't prepared for this. I forgot my gloves at home, and so I got Dakotas, and I just had a one wind jacket and one rain jacket. But at least I was able. I had someone at Pico de la Cruz in not the highest part, but just before that brought me this other jacket. No, it was raining from the start, but at the start it's quite you are like sea level, and at least the temperature was pretty warm and nice, doable. But of course, this race, it's like climbing constantly until the highest peak, the highest point of the island. And so it was just like, it got worse and worse and worse and worse. We just had a little break going down to El Pilar. It was extremely high wind, like super heavy rains at times coming from everywhere, like sometimes in your face, sometimes sideways, and really cold temperatures. And it was just like constantly like that.
No break.
No break.
Hours of that.
Yeah. Sometimes when it was not raining and it was just windy, and you were like, just a little
40-kilometer wind.
Yeah, it was insane. And it got like every little task got extra challenging because I couldn't feel my hands, and so it was just even like eating a gel. It was just like trying to manage the poles and just like get in the pockets, eat a gel, try to not let it fly away, and it was just like. Yeah, it was kind of funny if I think about it now, but also it's like I didn't have like the legs I wanted for yesterday. I just felt a little off and not able to push like a little more. But I was like, okay, well, I try to stay consistent and let's see how if the situation will improve. And after a few hours, it did improve, but just like with that, also the weather got so bad, like so much worse that after like the legs were just like stuck, just so cold that you just don't, you keep moving not to get, it's painful. You kind of get like these cramps just because everything is so stiff. And so, we really had to battle to stay warm, and it was kind of intense, and eventually I felt like finally when we started to go down, at the beginning it was extremely painful because I was so stiff that you just run like with straight legs, just like a penguin. And it was just a surreal scene because we were catching a lot of people from the marathon, and it was just, you just see these people moving slowly or just death
marching.
Yeah, death marching, or just like sticking together, like with survival blankets, just next to a rock. And you're like, kind of like, okay, I think you gotta keep moving. Don't stop. And then, at Rockaway, I didn't even go to the aid station because I was like, okay, I just need to keep moving down. And I see 2 buses full of people covered in survival blankets. I was like, oh, damn. But and finally, after a long time, I think it took me at least 30, 40 minutes of downhill to feel my legs again, because it's so technical and quite difficult, especially before this year. I've never seen La Palma with mud.
And there was tons of mud.
Yeah, I was like, I've never even imagined it could be muddy here. And yesterday it was like Zegama sometimes, like so much mud and just crazy. And the last downhill, it's always really technical, but yesterday was like really technical. And if you are stiff and just like not confident, it's really hard to run fast. Yeah.
You must have found your legs on that downhill, though, because you and Ekaterina sort of got into it. You were a couple minutes behind at Roque, but then you came within a minute and a half, I think, by the bottom of the downhill.
Yeah.
Could you see her at times? Did you know you were gaining? You were just doing your own thing?
No, I was just completely doing my own thing, because the only information I got, it was before Roque, at Pico de la Cruz, that a friend of mine that was there, he told me that I had like 3 to 4 minutes from Ekaterina. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. I thought I was even farther away.
Yeah.
It's just like,
you don't know, do you?
You don't know.
Yeah.
And when I was able to see something, I've never seen, like early on in the race, as I said, I wasn't feeling super good. And so I never seen them. So even before Los Canarios. And so I was like, okay, well, that's good. But I know Ekaterina is really good in the downhill as well. But I just wasn't trying to catch anyone. I was just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And when I started to feel that I had my legs again, it was actually easier to push, because it was so muddy that when you are like not, like if you're thinking twice about where to step, it just like there's higher chances that you just slip. Or so I was just like, okay, well, let's go fast and let's get it done and get even warmer. And also with the cold, I think I planned like my nutrition, but I ate all the gels, and I needed more because I was just wasting so much energy trying to stay warm. And so at the Ultime, like the halfway through the downhill, luckily at the ice station I got an extra gel there, and Coca-Cola from Roque, just like trying to drink as much as possible. And then when it was finally kind of warm, it just felt good. For once I was kind of enjoying that downhill, because I was like, we're finally running. It's not just like surviving through the elements. And then I had the bike and the people that I was passing. They were telling me that I was getting closer and closer to Ekaterina. And so the first time I actually saw her, it was like after Tazacorte.
Okay, I wonder.
I just like, it was cool because I closed up even more towards the finish.
Yeah, I think you gained a minute from Tazacorte to the finish line. But you were never able to close the gap?
No, and I also wasn't even really trying. I was like, okay, I mean, we survived, and
you
she's
felt like
there.
It was more survival than anything.
Yeah, and I probably could have pushed a little more on the climb, but that was just like, whatever. It's like you don't really have to just like destroy yourself. I think I gave enough yesterday, but it was really cool. I was really pleased also on how I felt on the last climb. I was so rushed out of Tazacorte and that I forgot my poles. I would have liked to have my poles, but then I was like, well, whatever. I was like, I don't think I was gonna try really hard to catch Ekaterina anyway, so that was really cool. And yeah, Katerina is super nice. And I kind of wish we could have shared a little more during the race, but it was just like, I stayed alone the whole day.
It was you and the fog.
Yeah,
just
me and the
having
fog.
An experience.
Yeah, a bunch of dudes until after Reventon, and then all of a sudden I was completely alone. I was like, oh, okay. And then sometimes you pass some people just like freezing, like, I'm extremely cold. Where is the aid station? I'm like, I don't know, but
I don't know either.
We are all in the same situation. Do not stop.
Just go.
Keep going because there's nobody around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my last question for you, you sort of set aside, I would say, your photography career a couple of years ago to like focus more on running.
Yeah.
And in that time, you have won a couple big international races and proved yourself to be pretty consistent, like podium finisher. And then like in UTMB, you've gotten as far as like top 10 women. Do you think about like, is there like one more tick upwards, like getting yourself like from the highest echelon to the very top of the highest echelon? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because I do.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. Yes, it's. I really enjoy this process, and I like that I finally get away from the thought that I was like, I'm good, but never as good as other athletes in the sport. And I think there's still a gap, but because these things are like, for someone who does, who runs a lot and who has been in the sport enough to understand this, it's really like there's no magic overnight.
Yeah.
So like fitness takes time, and it's really a lot about how consistent you are through many, many years. And so I think I'm getting better and better, and I hope potentially to have to nail the perfect race at some point. And I'm happy that even after a good race like yesterday, it never felt like I was having the day. I was kind of grumpy for many hours because I wasn't feeling good, and then I was like, well, let's stop thinking about that. Now it's just survival mode, and so I'm really proud I'm surviving well and just moving as best as I can. And so I'm still trying to navigate because yes, it's just it's normal. You can't have great days every race.
Day.
Yeah, every day, even if you do your best to plan it right. And so yeah, it's really important to go through hard days as well. And I will. That's also why this year I'm not going back to UTMB, because I think I need some practice on other distances before, and then to be potentially more ready for next year or the year after. But I really would like to improve some more and try to race the best in the sport.
I think it really says something when you're you start this race and you're like, well, I don't really feel like I have my legs today, and then you're kind of in this zone where you aren't seeing the competitors. You're literally aren't seeing them because you're just in a storm all day. And then when it comes down to racing, you're right there. Mm-hmm. Fighting for the second, third place spot. So I think we're all our greatest criticizers or whatever. But I think it really says something when you're wow, I was just, didn't have the legs. I felt like I was just surviving, but you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's just really easy. Nobody really care if you go on or if you stop. It's just you. But it's you have to choke yourself out of these things, because it's until El Pilar I was what if I just jump in the car and just call it a day. It's but then I was no, it's still, it's great. And these races, you never know, after a while it can just change, everything can change completely, and it's all experience, and it's a great training day anyway, and so no, it's I'm really happy with yesterday.
You should be happy. Congratulations on your third place finish, and I hope today includes being warm and in the sun.
Yes, I hope
by
so.
the sea.
Yes. Hopefully I need some tan. Yeah, just go.
You didn't get any yesterday.
No. I even put sunscreen and I'm like, okay, damn.
Most useless preparation ever.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. See you hopefully in better conditions.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.